G'day everyone, Muz here. Just thought we'd show you a couple of things. Anyway, a bit of a setup of our kitchen. Fridge slide. We've got the 95 litre Waco. So I've got the smaller half on freeze, the bigger half on fridge. Use a couple of straps here just to secure the fridge in transit, just in case we hit a few bumps like we did on the way in today. But as you can see, the 95 fits in there perfectly. There's heaps of room there. The tunnel boot, love this thing, that goes all the way through, so that also opens on the other side. We managed to fit, all our tables, stools, chairs, the full sunbuster kit, which that includes our flooring, the walls, 3 walls and everything. That all goes in there and more. It's a great little storage area. So that's the tunnel boot. We've got the door, split at the moment, just using the screen doors because we've got pretty much all the windows open. We're off grid, so no power, no phone, no internet, but we're just using the natural breeze to keep everything cool. So we've just got the other half of the door pinned back and just using our screen door at the moment. We were a bit worried about the electric stairs coming in, but we went through a bit of a couple of big ruts and etc. in 4-wheel drive, but they survived. They're still there. Got our 50 litre fridge here. We just find putting it on a little stand just makes it easier to get to and saves you bending over all the time. That's our cafe bar. Cath keeps most of her cooking oils, common things that we use all the time, like stubby coolers and coffee cups, coffee, tea, sugar, Canadian Club. Let's go to items. Cath's pantry. We've got a really good setup in here, and she's got her rubbish bags, and she's got all sorts of different spices, etc. A few common cooking boards and a few other things to wash the dishes and such. But Cath's pretty organised when it comes to knowing what she wants where. Nice and handy to the kitchen. The slide-out kitchen itself. So we've got a utensil drawer, pretty much got everything in there. That drawer's a bit of a false drawer, but it's good to have access to put the hose and the gas hose away that come in underneath. We replaced our hose under there from the factory item. We used some grey water hose from Bunnings. There's the cutlery drawer. It's a pretty good setup actually, the way they've got the separators in there, and we've got everything that we need set up in there. 4-burner gas stove. We actually originally thought we were going to get the 3-burner, which we didn't want because we actually had a 4-burner on our previous camper trailer we were happy with, and we're just lucky. So we got that 4-burner, and it's a great setup we've got there. Just a little food preparation board there, and just look, a tip for young players: if you put a pole there at an angle between the legs of the kitchen and here, it just sits perfectly and doesn't get in your way. You don't trip over it or anything like that. We've got another small table over here. We've, much as we like our off-grid trips with our couple of fridges, we don't want an ice machine, so we've got an ice machine running off our inverter as well. We've got the baby Weber, and that's just hooked into the gas here at the rear with the 4-burner gas top. So that's our setup in the kitchen. We've got the 3-tiered drying rack, which we actually really like that. It's a good setup for us for putting the dishes away at the end of the night and having them drain off. And that's pretty much our kitchen setup at the moment.
Hi everyone, just thought I'd show you inside the van itself. So we're all set up now. So got the bed made up with my rainforest thing. I've got all the windows actually open here because we've got a really nice breeze outside. They've opened up really nice, and we've got the little fly screens on there, so it protects us from the bugs. But yeah, I've got plenty of storage around in here. So just to show you around, we've actually used these fusion locks over here. So I've managed to hang everything that I need hung up, like the hats, jumpers, towels, heaps of room. So I'm going to show you in the cupboards now. Just to show you up here, I've just put a couple of cubes up here just to put our dirty washing and things like that. So I just keep them up the top. In here, this is my cupboard. I've just basically used those storage cubes stacked up in here. I've got plenty of room. We're here for quite a few nights, so here for 10 nights. This one here, I've got these drawers for Murray, so he's got plenty of room for his clothing. Just to show you in there. The bottom drawer, I just keep all our little shoes, like the reef shoes and things like that. Over here on this side, I've just got a couple extra food items here that we thought we'd need because we're here for a bit longer. Cupboards here, I just keep basically my fry pans, the wheeler bowls as well, over there and there. So Murray put these shelves in because they didn't actually come standard with the van. So he's put those in for me, so that's been very handy. He's done that in a couple areas here. This area here, it's just another small cupboard, but I just keep my barbecue tools sitting in there. Just to show you inside the bathroom area, so I've opened up the cupboards there, so we've got plenty of room for the toiletry bags, the medical kit and all that sort of thing. So I'll just close that up. And I've got all the fusion locks in there as well, with all the towels and the toilet roll holder. I've got the shampoos and everything over in here as well, but yeah, plenty of room as you can see. I've opened up the windows in there. There's another cupboard just at the bottom here, which, yeah, I just keep a lot of spare, you know, shampoos and just things for the dogs and toilet paper and soaps, and it's just another little storage compartment. Comes in handy. Right, I've got more cupboards over here. That's just where we keep, usually I keep the kettle in here, but, you know, we've got a few other products, but I keep all my plates, bowls, everything in this one area. Over here, plenty of storage there, you know, just for little containers and our glassware, which I use those polycarbonate glasses, and we've got, you know, extra cups and everything in there as well. So plenty of room there. These are my pantry drawers that I use here. So this is where I keep all my dry goods. I keep them all indoors. Still easy to get to, so it's not a problem. But yeah, just extra tins and all that sort of thing that we need. Plenty of room. The bottom one, that's just for extra storage bags, my tea towels. I keep a toaster for when we're at the caravan parks. All my Glad wrap, everything like that. So there's plenty of room in the drawers. And over here, yeah, basically I've just got more bits of, you know, more baking things. My kettle's back there for when we're at the caravan parks. Don't use that when we're off grid. I've got the other old kettle as well for that. And just my cleaning cupboard. I just keep all my dustpans and things like that in there as well. But yeah, my washer bag, scrubber bag. And that's just another one. Murray put these shelves in as well. We didn't have these in standard. He's put this key thing here as well for us, so it's actually quite handy. So that's our cupboards.
Now we've just got a bit of a close-up there of our dust reduction kit. It's a Dometic dust reduction kit that we got fitted to the van. I think they're around about $700. I'll show you more on the inside. That's the inside piece of our DRS system, Dometic. Put in there, filter system in place. Just keeps the dust out, you know, as you're driving on the dusty roads. I think it's a great thing to have. Important thing is they are meant to be at the front of the vehicle, and if they must at a minimum be forward of the axle. Otherwise they really don't do anything. All the wind, you know, centrifugal forces get all mixed up. It's like turbulent and they don't work properly. So as far forward as you can to have the DRS system fitted. Other mods we've done, we've got some nice pretty stickers on the door of our ensuite toilet there. We've also got quite a few hooks for, you know, towels and hats and licorice, all sorts. Fusion lock hooks from Bunnings, they work really well. So we've got hooks in place. We've actually even got toilet roll holder, which is fusion lock, and the towel holder there, that's fusion lock. Yeah, it's actually pretty good gear. A couple other extra things. We've got the Sirocco fans here. They're not cheap, but you know, when it comes to being off grid, you want to try and get something that is reliable, runs well, and doesn't chew a lot of current. These things blow a fair amount of air, but they chew very little current. They're pretty much, you know, a couple $100 each, which is pretty expensive for a little fan, but they are good gear. There's a lot cheaper fans you can buy out there. I'll tell you straight up, I've had them before. They're noisy and they chew a lot more power than these things. And you really got to count your amps when you're going off grid. As you can see the living area here, you can see the clothesline out through the window, but I just want to talk about that cover, which you can just see through the gap up there. Once again, how that keeps the sun off this area, which is just above your head when you're sleeping, or if you go for an afternoon nap, and breaks up that rainfall when you get the heavy rain come through. Probably another one of our big mods is we actually replaced our AGM batteries with lithium. So we've actually got 3 140 amp lithium batteries that we replaced the 3 120 AGMs with. Everything else is pretty standard. I have replaced a couple of the cheaper fuse holders that came with the van. I also label these things because sometimes you're not sure which one to turn on or off, so I've just got the red arc and the hot water system there. Probably another big mod that we've done here, and I sort of talked about this at the start of the video. So I've just got a changeover switch here that's hooked into our red arc system here. Basically I can just switch it from a 12 volt feed from the car, this is at the Anderson plug at the front of the van, to across here to me a solar feed, because when you're off grid you need that additional solar. G'day everyone, just thought I'd talk to you about mods. We get asked about quite a bit what modifications we've done to our van since we bought it. Probably not a whole lot, and probably haven't spent a whole lot of money, but I thought we'd just go through a few. We made up these orange light covers. So these lights are quite bright, and the insects, depending on where you are, sometimes at night time can give you a bit of a hurry up. So we just got some orange perspex and a bit of Velcro, and just put a little seal around the edge of it, and we have those on at night time, which when you put that orange light on, it seems to stop the bugs from coming, or certainly cuts down on them a whole lot. The other mods we've got, as you can see, we've got our Weber up here on the shelf. We've just got as you can see, a piece of ply there. We've just put a bit of paint over it, a bit of hammer tone paint, but it sits on a little stand, and it just stops because you always get a little bit of, I suppose, drippage off the Weber sometimes, depending on what you're cooking. So it just goes on top of this, and it's really smooth, so it's easy to wipe down, save it getting on your your stainless steel shelf. It actually doubles as if you have a look underneath the legs there. I've done the little legs that it sits on, so it actually sits underneath our smaller fridge when we start away in the car, so the fridge sits on top of that and stows it off. Another little mod we put on here is this little Lackey shock cord. We just got that from Bunnings. It was just a few dollars just to hold this upright in place. They can actually fold forward if you have a fair bit of wind, or if you have too much weight on the front section, but that works a real treat there. Actually, while I'm here, I might give these guys a bit of a plug. Hardcore lights, it's a little kit of 4. There's 2 of the lights there on the charger at the moment. Those lights are great. So we set them up underneath our gazebo where we play cards all night with our friends, and so 2 of those lights is enough to light up that whole area. They go for about 4 or 5 hours, I think, and and you get a kit of 4, so we just every second day we charge those lights up. Just look, another mod, you're probably familiar with these 2 long handle bolts which hold up the spares at the back of the van here. I actually ran some steel cable, and I just put a bit of heat shrink around the join on the swaging there, just so you don't get prickled with it. But they're just long enough that they don't dangle in the dirt, or you don't lose them. I just use it with that clip, and when I lock them up, I actually run the clip through here, which just is another thing to stop this from coming loose. And Also, once these are tightened, they can't unloosen themselves with this cable because I've got it at that length that they actually go fairly tight. So it doubles as a bit of a locking to stop them from getting loose. And when you do set up, they're not going to fall off, get lost, or fall in the dirt. The other thing I did do is I took 2 of our shocks, can't think of the proper word for them, off here so that this folds down a bit easier because we took one of the spares off, and I've just got a dirty rubbish bag here sitting underneath, which I made a timber mount from, which I can hang that bag off or whatever else I want to hang off it. So yeah, just another couple of little things, and you know, bit of stuff from Baines. It was actually quite cheap, but it's not a bad little tool. Just at the back here, you'll see we've got this shade here from Sunbuster. So it sits on a piece of sail track that we put up there on the top roof section. So you've actually got to put this shade on before you put the roof up. But that sort of keeps the sun off our roof here, which is, as you know, is just above your bed area. But it also doubles down as, because this is quite thick, really good quality cloth that Sunbuster use. When it rains heavy without this, it really gets loud right there because it's only, you know, a few inches above your head when you're trying to sleep. And this really takes the shock of that rain out and makes it a lot less noisy having that on there. But obviously doubles down as that good shade. And we just simply have got a bungee cord on either end, and it's great. Probably the other mod that you can see sort of hidden under here a little bit is we've got a clothesline. So we just got that Daytech Mini. It is a Daytech Mini from Bunnings. I think it was a bit over $100. Yeah, we've just got that bolted through. I think I used 50mm stainless, probably 8mm bolts, I think maybe. And I've just put a bit of sicko around there so it doesn't leak anywhere. And a big washer on the inside going through the wall. A few people have asked, does the window still open up? Yeah, it does. It does open and close with the clothesline there. And when we finish with the clothesline, it's just a matter of pushing that in, and that stows away, and it doesn't interfere with anything when you fold everything away either. So we've had that on there for a while, and yeah, it's not a bad little setup. Another couple of things we did, we got a 10-metre roll of this grey water hose from Bunnings, and I've actually chopped it up a bit, but this is really good hose. It's quite flexible and strong enough, and you get these little rubber couplings. They're from Bunnings as well, so they just basically click on like that. So I've cut this length here. This is going to our grey water tank. We've got a 5 written on that because it's 5 metres long. And I've also got another piece here, which is 2.5 metres long to that joint, and that piece there is another 1.5 metres long. And we actually used a piece that was just shy of 1 metre to replace the hose that is under the sink that came from factory, because it's really thin and wafery. Yeah, it wasn't really good quality, so we just used a short length of this 10-metre roll to replace that. And we've actually, like I said, these little connections work really well. I've got one on the end tap of the grey water tank that sits there all the time, just on the tap there. So this all hooks on together, and that's our waste sorted. Obviously we have a quick connect, a different fitting to what was supplied with us with Austrack, but yeah, we use that way I can keep this locked and still hook up water to it when we're out of Caravan Park. This cover we replaced. They normally come with another white plastic cover that goes over the top there. We never lost ours, but people tend to either lose them or people steal them from caravan parks, because I think that little piece of plastic's $70 or $80 to buy. But Bradley Nichols off our one of our forums, our four-wheel drive forums, actually makes these up for about $100. So it's aluminium, all folded up in box section with rubber seal around the edge and on a hinge. So it was just a matter of putting a few popper rivets in, drilling a couple of holes, and that's how it sits when we travel. And when we're set up and need the hot water system going, that's how it sits. There's the AM FM radio. I put some thread seal in that because one day I come around the corner and noticed that the aerial was loose. So if the aerial's not loose, maybe just undo it a bit and put some thread seal just to lock up that thread so you don't lose it. We're off grid at the moment. We don't really need to plug into a van park, but I've got a cord here just to show you. I just put a little hook here. I noticed a lot of other caravans have them. So when you put your power in at the van park, what tends to happen is over time these start to pull and stretch down. So it's just a little hook to take the weight off the cord. So another little modification. And while I got you here, I just thought I'd talk about, chocking your wheels. So, we're set up here, we've disconnected from the car. And it just so happened we were really level where we actually parked the van this time. But if you're going to go somewhere, it doesn't hurt. These normally come in pairs and you only need one because it's usually only one side you've got to level up when you've got a single axle. So, if we weren't level, I would have used, and I always use a spirit level. You really can't do it by eye. You think you can, but you'll never get it right. But I just run a spirit level and work out how flat we are, and if we need to, I'll just drive that up on one of these, the side that needs to come up a little bit higher on a ramp. But always make sure you chock your wheels forward and aft, and don't forget to use your handbrake, obviously, once you're disconnected from the van. Pretty important to use your stabiliser legs. You can get a little bit of adjustment when you're trying to level up a van, but don't try and lift up a van quite a few inches just using these legs. They're not really meant for that. They're just meant to stabilise, putting the four legs down. So you really should try and get the van as level as you can with either that yellow ramp, which I was just talking about, and that's to get your lateral level, and forward and aft using your jockey wheel to get your longitudinal level. And these should just really be on the ground firm, just to stop the van from moving around when you're moving around in the van itself. What else have we done here? This stone guard. So we put the stone guard on here for obvious reasons. That it protects the front. Had one on our camper trailer, and we went through quite a few of these mesh covers over the years from getting hit by rocks and such. But it's actually kept a bit of mud off the van on this trip as well. I've made up a little section. Look, you can buy these things, or if you like me, have a bit of timber lying around. I just made a docking station for our jockey wheel here to sit in when we're going off grid. Just spreads that load nice and evenly, and it actually locks the wheel in place to stop it from moving. And moving across to here, I've actually got a couple of mounts here that, once again, from Bunnings. So they just got tie-down hooks forward and aft that I can tie down a couple of extra things, like had some yabby pots that we could tie down here, or actually got these ramps here if I need to get caught out in the mud. I've also got, look, another tip. You can see this red tie-down strap underneath here. If you're wondering what that's for. I always, once I've got the jockey wheel docked, I always put a strap around it to hold it upright in place, because they can come loose on heavy corrugation or bumpy roads, and once they come down, in transit and you drive with them, they're ruined forever. So I just use that red strap to hold it in place when it's sitting at that horizontal level. You're probably wondering why I've got these leads plugged into the front. So yeah, I am aware that's for the 12 volt feed for your car when you're driving along to charge your batteries. And on a standard setup, there's no use putting solar panels in there. It doesn't work like that, but it's a mod I can show you later on in the video, where I've put a changeover switch on the inside of the van, so that in the switch in one position, I can have it that it takes the 12 volt feed from the vehicle, and if I flick it to the other position, it takes the feed from the solar panels and feeds it into our Red Arc BMS30 to charge the batteries. One of the more expensive mods we did was to get our full sunbuster shade area. And look, it's one of the best mods we ever did. Really can't speak highly enough of these guys. So yeah, as you know, we've got our standard awning that you can see here, but it sort of leaves your fridge area and your kitchen a little bit exposed to the elements. So along came the solution with Sunbuster. So as you can see on this forward wall, you've got fully weatherproof vinyl here, and that attaches to an anti-flap kit. So the anti-flap kit, you've got one here on the forward edge and one on the rear edge, and that's that big piece of aluminium that clips together, mounts up here, and pulls down on this point here. And they got these yellow clips that pull the actual vinyl roof down to the anti-flap kit and stop it from flapping in the wind. Flapping in the wind, it gets really annoying, and also actually stretches your vinyl. So that holds it in place. So that's your anti-flap kit, is these pieces of aluminium that goes through here. Part of the anti-flap kit has got a nice long piece of sail track, which this vinyl just threads straight into. So we got this piece here that's 750 millimeters long, so fully under weather protection. And then you got this very thick shade cloth. So it's great. You can see it lets a fair amount of light through here. And even when it rains, the rain sort of, most of it runs off here. You do get like a misty spray that comes through, but most of it runs off. You know, like I said, it lets a fair bit of breeze in as well. And we've got those running down to those bungee cords that Sunbuster also provided. Always make sure you secure your legs to your awning. So, you know, I see a lot of people using these Bunnings pegs, and look, they're okay if you've got really coarse ground, but you can see they're not particularly long. I got these off eBay many years ago, so you can see they're quite a fair bit longer. I've actually taken the hooks off a couple of these and put a little split washer that connects and stays there and locks in place. And I actually put two of these in the feet of these poles, so 1, 2 and 1, 2 on the rear pole to secure this in place in case we do get a bit of wind. And you can see that the bungee cord's actually connected to these, and like I said, you know, there's a fair difference in size. These are okay, but these ones here are better. There's also sail track that fits to the long edge of the awning, and once again it just goes on so quick. And if you are having a bit of a trouble on there, just put a little bit of silicone spray on the track and it'll just glide straight on there. So that's our long wall. It, once again, lets a breeze through, lets light through, but still gives you a bit of privacy. And you know, it's great at where we're camping here at the moment. It is quite hot and quite sunny, but we're still getting breeze through, but keeping that sun and a fair amount of shade underneath this area. The other piece we've got here is the rear, and it's the same setup as I talked about before. So two vertical number 3 poles, one horizontal 7. Once again, the sail track that's on the other piece of the anti-flap kit, the vinyl connects to that, except this piece here is like 1,000 long. So the other one was 750 long, this one's 1,000 millimeters long, and then that drops away. And look, it's just a simple 3 pegs in the ground, just to put those bungees on. And I usually use the same pegs to run a rope just to hold this in place. Now this stands up to quite a bit of wind, trust me. We've gone through a tropical low just to the north of Townsville, and more recently we had another system come through in between Cairns and Townsville. We were camped at the beach, but they all stood up quite well, and the anti-flap kit works really well. This is a new piece that Sunbuster have just designed, a little block out area, because even here there was a slight gap where once you've got the fridge out, that you could get a bit of weather coming through on this gap onto here onto your fridge. Because it's a new mod, we need to get a piece of Velcro sewn on to the top of our existing vinyl, because we had this kit before we bought this block out piece from Sunbuster. I just didn't have a chance to get before we did this trip off grid here to get an upholsterer to sew that piece on there. But you can see how it sort of fits in there. The sail track's already existing here on our van, And once again, it really glides on fairly quickly. And they've got a couple of, as you can see, Velcro areas just to hold it in place around the pole. But once we get that piece of Velcro sewn on there down the track, that'll just sit together really nicely, and it just adds more protection. Probably the other thing while I've got you here is you can see I've got a bit of an angle on the vinyl running away in case it rains, and I've also got a bit of an angle running this way in case it rains. Always make sure you know, you do that, because you never know when you may get heavy rain, particularly on this awning, on your main one. It's not really meant to hold a lot of weight, so I always run a spirit level. You can do it by eye, but sometimes the lay of the land can be deceptive. So I always make sure I've got fall from there down to the lowest point here, and I've actually got fall from this end to that end, so the water runs that way. The other good thing about the Sunbuster is, you know, we had some really incredibly crazy windy days. We got over 40 knots, and almost got to the stage where we were going to pull everything down here, and this is at the beach. And what I found is I shortened these poles and put a real slopey angle using the Sunbuster kit, and it actually picked up the wind and focused it straight over the top of us, and it was a really great tool to, when it's crazy windy, we had it straight easterly, straight in off the beach at us, and it made a big difference by focusing the wind over the top of the roof. So you can actually adjust these in all sorts of different angles, whatever suits you. Probably another couple of little things here. These muck mats, expensive, but geez, they work so well. So much better than just buying a sheet of plastic grass, I can tell you that much. So we just have one there at the bottom floor, and they have this one here that sits in the step area. It keeps so much rubbish from going inside inside our van. The floor mat we're using today is a Sea Gear. We've had that for a long time. We've used that back in our camper trailer days. It's really good gear. Another one we've got, which we use in another communal area, is the Sunbuster one, which is pretty much just as good as Sea Gear, but a little bit cheaper. So we rate that one as well. So yeah, having a good mat, and believe it or not, just a piece of shade cloth, which was what we started off, you know, many years ago when our camper trailer days, is not the same as some of these good quality mats.
We hope you have enjoyed watching our video and our off-grid camping experience with our Austrack 13 caravan. Hopefully we've shared some great ideas and modifications.
Well, thanks everyone. Yeah, we've had the van just coming up for 10 months now, and look, so far so good. We haven't had a single issue, and you know, we've modified our van as discussed in the video for a few things just to make it more personalised. But thank you again for watching.
Bye everyone, until next time.
Cheers.